Welcome to Speak for Yourself. I know, I'm a day late. I'm Marcel Swiley, now wearing my pink. And Emmanuel Acho. How are you?
My brother, I'm good. I learned I'm colorblind, though, recently because I thought this was olive.
You thought it was olive. I heard that. You enjoy going at it. Well, join the line of men who are colorblind. And let's get to our top story brought to you by Popeye's Louisiana Kitchen. And the Rams are still shaking off confetti after winning the Super Bowl on Sunday. Matthew Stafford threw 3 touchdown passes, including the go-ahead touchdown in the closing minutes. LA won their first title in over 20 years, and Sean McVay said, quote, "Our best players shined when the brightest, when they had to." Okay, Acho, who deserves more credit? Stafford, McVay?
Sean McVay. Sean McVay's not getting enough credit, Sal, over the course of this playoff run, over the course of this Super Bowl. All we've talked about, Stafford. Is Stafford a Hall of Famer? Is Stafford a first ballot Hall of Famer? Look at what Stafford did for these Rams. But I got to remind everybody, Sean McVay had to keep Matthew Stafford from himself during that Super Bowl. Because Matthew Stafford was once again going to Stafford later on in that game.
What's that? What's
he was
that?
on Stafford.
Is that a verb?
It is. It's an action.
It's an action.
Because of losing a game by means of interceptions.
Wow.
Matthew Stafford was about to start Staffording.
Okay.
And somehow, some way, Sean McVay was like, nope. I'm not about to let you cost us the game, so let me completely revamp this game. Even though I know we're only averaging 1.57 yards a carry, I'm just simply going to continue to run the ball because if I just leave it in Stafford's hands, who now has thrown 2 interceptions and no touchdowns in the 2 quarters after Odell Beckham's injury, then we might end up faltering. We might end up falling. Matthew Stafford played well enough to win. Obviously, they won. But Sean McVay had to make sure that Matthew Stafford did not hurt himself and Matthew Stafford did not hurt the team. Remember, Sel, 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. It's not a good day for Matthew Stafford. Matthew Stafford only threw 2 or more picks 5 times in that 17-game season. If you include the 17 games plus the playoffs, Matthew Stafford only threw 2 or more picks 5 times in 20 games. 25% of the time did Matthew Stafford throw 2 or more picks. Yet in the biggest game of your life, you throw 2 or more picks? Problem. Matthew Stafford's completion percentage, regular season, 67%. Super Bowl, 65%. Now, not that far off, but what I'm saying is, it's not as though Matthew Stafford played better than his former self. It's not as though Matthew Stafford played better than Joe Burrow. Matthew Stafford just was on the team that won the game, and kudos to him, he played good enough to win. But Sean McVay dictated the team that won the game. I got to give Sean McVay the credit.
Oh, goodness, you gave me so much ammunition. Oh, Mama, I can't eat all these ribs, but I'm going to try. Here we go, Acho. Who deserves more credit? You know it is Matthew Stafford. Let's start here. Before the 2021 season, who was Sean McVay? A genius coach who had went to a Super Bowl. Who was Matthew Stafford? Guy who couldn't even win a playoff game. Oh, my God. And what changed for these same Rams? That's their starting point. Their ending point is the same. But what changed? Oh, Matthew Stafford came in and got him over the hump. But Sean McVay was already there. So who deserves credit for getting him over the hump? Simply, you would think it was Matthew Stafford, but you don't think it's that simple. So let's go deeper. The genius in the head coach of Sean McVay, when he first hit the scene, I was here. I don't know where you were in 2017. Let me know, homeboy. Where were you?
I was trying to make it.
You was
local television, baby.
Okay. So Big 12, Big 13?
Fox 7 Austin.
Fox 7 Austin.
Yeah.
Oh, really? Oh, with the weatherman? Oh, I hate them dudes when they get the little infomercial. All right, anyway, you're here now. 2017, first in scoring offense. Okay. Hit the ground running, right? 11 wins. Damn, we lost in the wild card. Okay, next year, second in scoring offense. You go, Sean McVay. Go to the Super Bowl and lose. Who cares? You went against Belichick. We get it. Next year, start getting a little trying out here. 11th. Year after that, all of a sudden, 22nd. And all of a sudden now we hear a little bit of scapegoat, let's call it, Jared Goff, John Wolford Reserve. Y'all the problem. I need me a real quarterback. And that thing that was trending from 1 to 2 to 11 to 22, all of a sudden, you ever been on a plane with that real turbulence? I ain't talking about just like a think where the captain got to speak. This your captain speaking. Just want to let you guys know. Yeah, from 20 seconds, out of that turbulence, back to 7th, back to top 10. And only one thing changed in dynamic. It was a different quarterback. It was Matthew Stafford who deserves the credit. Matthew Stafford not only got this team a ring, Matthew Stafford also saved this offense that was going the wrong way, headed south fast under a genius offensive-minded head coach. So you give me something to counter those two things, but I know why you said, and this is how you started it off, you know, Sean McVay's not getting enough credit this postseason run. Want to know why he's not getting enough credit? Because, frankly, doesn't deserve more credit. Matthew Stafford came in here and saved the day.
Okay, I like that take. Hard to push back on because Stafford obviously did a lot this season. But, so you know about two things, variables and fixed, right?
Oh.
Variable, it constantly changes. Fixed, you know exactly what it is. A home mortgage, for example, that is a fixed cost. It's going to be the same each and every month. But the electric bill, that's a variable cost. It's going to go up and down dependent upon how much electricity you use every month. Fixed and variable. Why do I bring that up? Because Sean McVay is a fixed head coach. You know exactly what you are going to get from Sean McVay. Sean McVay was always good, whether Jared Goff was at the helm, whether John Wolford was at the helm, regardless of who was at the helm, Sean McVay was always good in coaching a good team. However, Matthew Stafford is a variable performer. Depending upon who is out there with him, his performances go up and down. We have to look no further than Matthew Stafford with Odell Beckham and without Odell Beckham in the biggest game of his career. We have the full screen. Let's go to it when the time allows. Because without Odell Beckham, Matthew Stafford was 9 of 17. Without Odell Beckham, Matthew Stafford had no passing touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Without Odell Beckham, Matthew Stafford's passer rating was 27. Without Odell Beckham, Matthew Stafford had 86 yards. But with Odell Beckham, Matthew Stafford, 10 of 12, 2 touchdowns, no picks, 140 yards. So Matthew Stafford was a variable performer in the Super Bowl. But remember, Sean McVay, at his worst, still a 9-win head coach at his worst. Sean McVay, even without Matthew Stafford, was in a Super Bowl. Sean McVay, without Matthew Stafford, had coached a number 1 offense in the league. Had coached a number 2 offense in the league. To your point, obviously, he coached a number 22 offense, but let's not
You want to screw over that?
I'm highlighting it.
Okay.
You made that point.
Yeah,
Let's not forget, Jared Goff was also injured last year. So Sean McVay is fixed. He's always great. Matthew Stafford, variable. Give me fixed because I know exactly what's coming in and I know exactly what's going out. Sean McVay, more important.
Oh, man, I love you. I hate to get personal, but hey, what's the use of coming up here and not opening up our lives, opening up our hearts to those fans that are invested in our show? So let's do it. I saw on Instagram recently, I don't know, a guy looked just like you, but his haircut was a little tighter, but basically you, right? He was in the backyard, and he said, I didn't know what to do today, so I bought a home. You know who that guy is? Is it you?
I have a brother that looks like me.
Yeah, but he looks better. It was you. It was you, Emmanuel Acho, right? Now, you said fixed and variable. I don't want to get into your business, but I know how much your house costs, and I ain't going to tell them that. Woo, this boy with it. But I don't know what type of mortgage you got, but have you ever seen, as they call them, an ARM mortgage, adjustable rate mortgage, you know, where it's going to be fixed for a certain amount of time, and then it's going to adjust for a certain amount of time. I don't know what you know about mortgages, but I don't also know what you know about football teams because Sean McVay had hit his own ceiling. Sean McVay, in his greatness, individually and as the head coach of this team, had plateaued. He realized, even with Jared Goff, I got to the Super Bowl, but I can't go any farther unless I go get me a real one. And then when he got that real one, in year 1, without him having a ton of chemistry and a ton of reps with this team, went out there and saved the 22nd ranked offense in scoring and put them in 7th. And then more importantly, took a team that hadn't been to the Super Bowl in a few years and took them to the Super Bowl and won that same Super Bowl. The same quarterback who was 6th in passer rating, you want to bring that up, 3rd in passing yards per attempt, 4th in passing yards per game, 2nd in the league in passing touchdowns. Dog, he got him a top 5 dude, and all of a sudden he had a top 10 offense again and finally got over the hump. So, Acho, not going to dig into the details of your mortgage, but after the show, man, you're going to chop it up. We got to talk about them arms, brother.
But think about this, though. Matthew Stafford went to a team that was already really good. There's no debating that. He went to a team that was already really good, and he helped make that team great. But Sean McVay made that team really good. And so when we're talking about it's like Sean McVay took a team that was bad and made them really good.
Yeah.
Matthew Stafford took a team that was really good and made them great. Yeah. The distance from bad to really good is a much greater distance traveled than the distance from really good to great.
Fact.
The distance that Sean McVay had to travel with Stafford was simply Super Bowl loss to Super Bowl win. One game. The distance that Matthew Stafford had to travel, a large number of games. It's like, we know this. There are probably a couple of quarterbacks who could have won the Super Bowl with this team. Probably 5 to 8.
Yeah.
I think we can probably agree on. Especially depending on how Matthew Stafford played, probably 5 to 8. Number of coaches that without Odell Beckham, without Tyler Higbee, when the Bengals take the lead, 4th and 1 game on the line, and you're averaging 1.5 yards a carry. Number of coaches that could have coached the Rams out of that predicament, that number is smaller than the number of quarterbacks that could have led the Rams to the Super Bowl. I'm thinking about this on the spot, not even prep for this part.
My dog.
But that actually probably is what makes the most sense and is the strongest argument for Sean McVay.
Let's go.
Because when we think about it, the quarterbacks that were active this year, Tom Brady with the Rams could have got the job done. Josh Allen with the Rams could have got the job done. You're not going to disagree with Justin Herbert with the Rams, could have got the job done. I doubt you will disagree that, I'm not going to say Dak Prescott. Aaron Rodgers with the Rams could have got the job done. Patrick Mahomes with these Rams could have got the job done. Now things you want to get a little bit dicey, that's when you get to the Daks, that's when you get to the Murrays, that's when you get to the Russell Wilsons. I'm not even going to go all there. Well, we can throw in at least one of those guys. 6 quarterbacks call it, whether Russell Wilson, Patrick Mahomes, Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, Josh Allen, Justin Herbert. 6 quarterbacks on this Rams team could have got the job done. But you think 6 coaches? With Matthew Stafford having thrown 2 picks after Odell goes out the game, with Tyler Higbee hurt, Bengals take the lead late in the 4th quarter, 6 minutes left, game on the line, 4th and 1. You need one call. Haven't run an end around in 3 to 4 weeks. You can't run the ball with Cam Akers. You can't run the ball with Henderson. You got to have it. 6 to 8 coaches, not doing that. Only Sean McVay, maybe Shanahan, maybe Andy Reid that I believe in to get that job done. With that being said, what Sean McVay did is harder to do than what Matthew Stafford did.
You saved your best for last, and I was hoping you didn't go to that place because I have no counter. I don't know if you've ever been questioned by the police. You ever been arrested? I have. They expunged my record, so I shouldn't even said that because y'all would have never found out, but it happened. One thing that we all know, even watching Law & Order, shout out to Anthony Anderson, too, my dog, Compton in the house once again. When you're under questioning and investigation, don't say anything. Now, there's an inclination for you to say something because you think it's going to help you. But you don't know the entire perspective and scope of the investigation. So what you think can help you can come back to hurt you, even though you think you're doing yourself a favor. Now, why do I say that? Because I'm not going to say anything right now. You got me. You know what I'm saying? But I will say this. If we had the draft right now, and this is what you had to draft, you either get to pick the head coach and Sean McVay for your team, the Achos.
I like this.
Or you had to go out there and get you your franchise quarterback, and it's going to be Matthew Stafford. Who would you draft?
I'd take Sean McVay, but let's discuss this because it's a great question.
Okay.
Who are you taking? You taking Stafford out of
I'm taking Sean McVay, too. I'm not arguing with you. You kidding me? He's a genius. He did most of the work. But, hey, he got to a point where you couldn't do anymore. This is why a lot of companies, they merge and they get acquired. Because they can't take it any farther. So which one you gonna say? The big, huge conglomerate that comes in and say, yeah, we'll take that from you. Like Instagram. Facebook was sitting there like, oh, that's cute. $1 billion. Hey, you 2 founders, give me that. And they sold it. Now, at the time, that was a tremendous sale. Not now. You look at Instagram now, was it worth 80, 90 billion dollars? But point being, in that moment, they had plateaued. And I think that's what this team looked like before, Matthew Stafford.
I love that. But the most important question of the first 14 minutes of the show is this. Matthew Stafford, McVay, what'd you get arrested for?
Ooh, expunged. I used to be a shoplifter. I told you that, man.
You a klepto?
Hell yeah. And a pyro. But they ain't catch me for burning stuff, but they called me for stealing them shirts. Coming up, what's going on in Arizona? I need a podcast to tell y'all the truth about my life. We'll tell you if the Cardinals should be afraid of committing long-term to Kyler Murray. Dog, put your computer back. I ain't gonna take it, but first, Joe Burrow did not get to lift up the Lombardi trophy. Y'all. We'll tell you how bad the Super Bowl loss is for the Bengals quarterback. That's next on Speak for Yourself.
Burrow, get it. Joe Burrow got the Bengals back to the Super Bowl in only his second season, but he fell short to the Rams, y'all. Now, Burrow said he'd like to think his squad will be back in the same situation multiple times over the next few years, adding they'll, quote, take this and let it fuel us for the rest of our careers, close quote. So I was thinking about this question. This might be my favorite one of the day.
You want to go first?
How bad is this Super Bowl loss for Joe Burrow?
You know, going into the Super Bowl, I thought it was going to be horrible that Joe Burrow put himself in this position of a second-year player already in the Super Bowl, and I anticipated that they were going to lose. And what I anticipated was, it's going to be a hell of a drop from Joe Burrow and what we're thinking of him right now and the rest of his career, because Joe Burrow, most of the quarterbacks that set themselves up for that level of success, a lot of them, that's their highlight. It's behind them, not in front of them. But post-Super Bowl, I'm starting to realize and come to a different conclusion, that this is going to be worse for the Bengals than Joe Burrow's legacy. Let me tell you why. I think he will be forever protected from this being a bad situation because he took a bad organization to the Super Bowl. And not just any bad organization, the Cincinnati Bengals. I must remind people, when I played, there was no close second in terms of what was the worst organization to play for. One, you just heard all the conversations and rumors about how cheap they were. Two, you knew that they didn't have a ton of success. Three, when you went to play them, I remember, Acho, no lie, has this ever happened to you? I'm talking about even playing Pop Warner in the hood on grass fields that didn't have grass. Do you ever remember being on a field that was actually slanted? Slanted. Literally, you would be on the field stretching, and then you would look at your boy who's stretching also on your team, and he's up higher than you. And you're like, dog, I'm going to play on this. And this wasn't like our field turf now. AstroTurf. And they said the worst AstroTurf that was slanted on the field. So you're hearing it's cheap, they're not that good, and you're looking at the facilities like, this is the worst. That's who the Cincinnati Bengals were. So in my mind, I'm still stuck in that place. Joe Burrow took that team, in my mind, to a Super Bowl. Frankly, I don't give a damn what he does the rest of his career in terms of team success, as long as Joe Burrow goes out there and balls, because let's be real. Joe Burrow going forward, what's going to happen? The AFC quarterbacks are coming, and they're coming for blood. So for me, I think Joe Burrow is going to be in a protected bubble of quarterbacks that went to the Super Bowl in their first 2 years, but he took the Bengals, where those other guys, maybe in better franchises, better organizations, they went through the roller coaster ride. We could bring up Colin Kaepernick versus a Tom Brady, ups and downs, right? But Joe Burrow took the Bengals. To me, that's special.
I love that take. I think this loss was terrible for Joe Burrow. Now, I might not be right, but at a minimum, I'm going to make you all think differently.
Okay.
I think this loss was terrible for Joe Burrow. We've all been debating how important this Super Bowl game was for Matthew Stafford's Hall of Fame resume. This Super Bowl game may have been more important for Joe Burrow's Hall of Fame resume. I'm going to try to have some foresight that everybody else is waiting to have hindsight in regards to. What do I mean? The difference between Ben Roethlisberger and Phillip Rivers as it pertains to Roethlisberger, surefire Hall of Famer, Phillip Rivers, teetering. Super Bowls. Look at the stats for yourself. Really, statistically speaking, they are not too far off. You all see the passing yards, less than 1,000 difference. You all see the passing touchdowns, less than 3 difference. You all see the interceptions, less than 2 difference. You all see the passer rating. But the difference was the Super Bowls. Let's keep it moving. Who we got next? We going Dak Prescott, Russell Wilson? Because the difference in their first 5-6 years of play, the Super Bowls. Now, clearly Russ went to more Pro Bowls because his team was better. Dak Prescott got hurt. That's why he doesn't have as many wins. But look at the passing touchdowns, not that big a difference. Look at the interceptions, not that big a difference. And look at the passer rating, nearly identical. The difference between Dak Prescott and Russell Wilson in their first several years is the Super Bowls, because Russ in our mind has been a Hall of Famer for the last 3 years now. Super Bowls. Okay, keep it moving. Eli Manning, Matt Ryan, both went to 4 Pro Bowls, passed for nearly identical yardage as it stands, passed for nearly identical touchdowns as it stands, passer rating, clearly there's a difference there. But what's the difference between Eli, who is a surefire Hall of Famer, and Matt Ryan, who is on the fence? The Super Bowls. So while we spent all this time talking about Matthew Stafford and how big this Super Bowl was for his Hall of Fame legacy, I'm really looking at Joe Burrow and how big a deal this Super Bowl was for his potential Hall of Fame legacy. Because we're all just assuming, Joe Burrow's going to be back. We all assumed Dan Marino was going to be back. We all just assuming Joe Burrow's going to be back.
Yeah.
We all thought Allen Iverson was going to be back. We all just assuming Joe Burrow's going to be back, but what if he is not? If Joe Burrow does not go back to the big game, I would hate for us to be speaking about him with the same inconclusivity that we're speaking about Phillip Rivers. I would hate for us to be speaking about him with the same questions and ambiguity that we're speaking about Matt Ryan. By Joe Burrow not winning the Super Bowl, it could potentially be a scarlet letter on his resume when it comes down to the Hall of Fame.
You're right. It just doesn't feel right in terms of effect. Because I look at the quarterbacks that in their first 2 seasons, they went to a Super Bowl. We obviously got Joe Burrow, okay? Russell Wilson. Did that help him or hurt him? Of course it helped him, right?
Of course.
Colin Kaepernick. It certainly helped him, right? When things started to go and spiral out of control and go off the rails, you started to say, well, he was a Super Bowl quarterback, and he had great years. Roethlisberger, obviously. Brady, obviously. Kurt Warner, obviously. Even Dan Marino, I would say, obviously helped him, even though it was in a loss as well. But then you start looking at the organizations, and I'm not just going to count their rings, but their rings are linked to the perception as well. Listen to these organizations. 49ers. Okay, well, another quarterback. And he didn't even win, Colin Kaepernick, but he was at the 49ers. Steelers, Patriots, Rams, Dolphins. I know y'all don't know, but ask your uncle, ask your granddaddy. Dolphins used to tilt. And then there's the Bengals. You can ask anyone in your family. They never had their highlight era. They never had the era where you're like, Super Bowl champ in the Super Bowl, but never highlight era. So for Joe Burrow, I'm almost giving him the exception clause. I'm saying, Joe Burrow, because you took that team, kind of like when Drew Brees won his. Now, Drew Brees won his Super Bowl, and everybody was like, yes, amazing. And then we started giving props to the coach, and you start saying, man, this is something special, Sean Payton and Drew Brees. But it also had extra sauce on it because it was the Aints, as they called them, the New Orleans Aints. And then you start to look around. Did Joe Burrow just almost accomplish that? Yes, at a faster clip and a faster pace than even Drew Brees. I think he's going to lie on a mattress. I think that Cincinnati's going to always protect him. He's always going to be their guy, franchise quarterback. He's going to ball out individually. But in terms of team success, let's be real about the course ahead. As you mentioned, too many great quarterbacks in that conference to see that he can always make it to that mountaintop.
Ooh. So are you saying that it's going to be difficult for him to get back to that mountaintop or not?
What I'm saying in simple is Joe Burrow's going to ball for his career long. It won't add up for team success.
Okay, yes, bingo.
Then it won't hurt him.
Oh,
he'll be protected.
Okay, I love it, because you and I are at the exact same point, just one final difference. I do think that Joe Burrow will ball the entirety of his career, but if he doesn't have team success, then what does he have? Look through the 2 years of Joe Burrow's career, 12, 13, and 1. So Joe Burrow's record right now is a loser. Look at Joe Burrow's 2 years of his career. No Pro Bowls. No All-Pros. So Joe Burrow right now, through 2 years of his career, as swaggy as he is, as cool Joe as he is, as many dances as he be doing, he still ain't got a Pro Bowl. Clearly no All-Pros, not that big a deal, but he has a losing record. So what in totality, Sel, does Joe Burrow actually have to show for himself? Like, I hate when people do this, but I guess it makes sense at this junction in time. I literally hate when people do this.
What's that?
If an alien came down on Earth and you told them about Joe Burrow, would they be impressed? If an alien came down on Earth and we were like, okay, so who is this Joe Burrow guy?
Just the NFL version of Joe
Yes, sir. Just the NFL version. Alien comes down, knows nothing about football. Emmanuel, Marcellus, tell me who is Joe Burrow. Well, Joe Burrow's 12, 13, and 1, Mr. Alien. 12, 13, that's losing, right? But
why the alien know English? Like, why you don't know alien?
We translated it. well, Mr. Alien, Joe Burrow hasn't been to an All-Pro. No, he hasn't, Mr. Alien asked. Well, has Joe Burrow been to a Pro Bowl? No, he hasn't. Okay, so what's Joe Burrow done? He went to a Super Bowl. Did he win? No, he didn't. Did he ball? How many passing touchdowns he had? Just one? So why are you so hype about Joe Burrow? Because the alien could ask us about Justin Herbert. And you know what we'd have to say? Justin Herbert went out there and was offensive rookie of the year. You know what we'd have to say? Justin Herbert went out there and threw for 30-plus touchdown passes. Alien could ask us about Mac Jones. You know what we'd have to say? Mac Jones went to the Pro Bowl. So as weird as it is, and mind you, I love Joe Burrow. I have him in my top 5. I think I have him in my number 3 quarterback going into next season. But when we really look at it based on the data, what do they say, Sel? It's not what you know, it's what you can prove in court.
Yeah.
When we really look at the data, that loss is huge because what can Joe Burrow stand on right now in his career? Like, what if you Joe Burrow, what's the biggest thing you've accomplished thus far in your career? Went to the Super Bowl and lost?
Yeah, that's the biggest thing they accomplished. Let's talk about this, what Joe Burrow's accomplished. Where the alien at? Where he at?
He right, he's still
He right there? Okay. Damn, he little. What's up? Better be careful. He probably pack a punch in that little alien body. All right, here we go. Hi, little alien man. You called him mister. You scared. I ain't scared of nobody in this world or out of this world. Give a damn. Little May. What's up, homie? Is Russell Wilson good? You ever watch TV up there? Yeah, he pretty good, huh? Okay. Is Ben Roethlisberger good? You like him? Me too. Tom Brady, you like? A little bit. Kurt Warner, Dan Marino. Now, what you need to do is tell the alien, stop looking at them in totality.
Okay.
Look at them in their first 2 years.
Fair.
Guess who Joe Burrow is? He's right there with those guys. I know you heard of them guys, right? All right, so let's talk about Joe Burrow. That's one thing that's going to impress the little alien man. He's going to say, damn, he's done that already. Like, he's on pace to do something that could be amazing. Now, alien man's going to push back. He's going to say, well, only Tom Brady, Big Ben, and Kurt Warner went back to the Super Bowl. Anybody else? And that's the conversation. But that's not a conversation to slight Joe Burrow right now. It's to say you're going to have to show some more receipts as a team for everyone to think of you as great as those other guys. But look at that company. They say you are the company you keep.
Yes, sir.
So if he's keeping that type of company, and the only name I didn't mention was Colin Kaepernick, and I remind you guys, in his first 2 years starting, that Colin Kaepernick was being called, and I quote, the most talented quarterback in the NFL by Ron Jaworski, and yours truly. So what does the alien need?
I got something for you.
If he doesn't understand that, he need to go back to his own world.
I got something for you.
Okay.
Russell Wilson in his first 2 years, 2 Pro Bowls, plus he won the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Tom Brady in his first 2 years, Pro Bowl, plus he won the Super Bowl.
Money.
Dan Marino, first 2 years, 2 Pro Bowls, plus an All-Pro. Ben Roethlisberger, first 2 years, Super Bowl, he won it. Joe Burrow, first 2 years, no Pro Bowls, no All-Pro, didn't win the Super Bowl. I love Joe Burrow. But the very first thing you told me that stuck with me on this show is facts over feelings. And I think the unfortunate facts are whether Russell Wilson, Tom Brady, Dan Marino, Big Ben, they all had winning records, first and foremost.
Yeah.
Secondly, they all had Pro Bowls, except for Big Ben, who had a Super Bowl. And then lastly, if you look at it, it's like, wait, Joe Burrow, no Pro Bowl, no All-Pro, no winning record. We love Cool Joe because a dope nickname and because he's swaggy and because he's a baller and he took the Bengals from, as I always say, from 2-14 to a Super Bowl. But Sal, when we reflect on it, and you asked me this question, I think yesterday or on Friday, you asked me, you said, hey, Acho, who did Joe Burrow beat in the national championship?
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, was it Ohio State? I was like, I think it was Clemson. You're like, exactly right. You don't remember the loser.
Don't remember the loser.
So we're not going to remember the fact that Joe Burrow lost when it's all said and done. So what do we have to remember? Oh, he was an All-Pro. Oh, he was a pro. Oh, he has some cool dances. Like, what do we have to remember? That's my only thought process.
I don't think there's a comp for this, but I'm going to squeeze him somewhere between Dan Marino and Jim Kelly. Okay. Now, there was an era of quarterbacks. Listen to this, and I know I'm going to forget somebody. Dan Marino, Jim Kelly, John Elway. Like, think about those 3 guys, all in the AFC. If you're 4th and you're great, good luck. Right now, Joe Burrow, Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Justin Herbert. And Justin Herbert doesn't even have team success. So Justin Herbert's looking at this same conversation from the flip side. He's like, I'm amazing. We aren't. Joe Burrow's like, we are amazing.
That's a good conversation.
But I'm also amazing, too, in that respect. So he's sandwiching. He may be creating his own lane, which will be amazing if your lane is sandwiched between Dan Marino, who never went back, but he's not forgotten. You said that we forget the loser. We didn't forget Marino and Jim Kelly.
Okay, but we didn't forget Marino because of how amazing Marino is. Realistically, Joe Burrow, at this point, is kind of legacy-wise Eli Manning if Eli doesn't win the chips. Those Giants teams that went to the Super Bowl, record-wise regular season, were not good.
No.
You know, they went on the road the entirety of the time. So if Eli Manning does not have those Super Bowls, he just has some 10-win Giants teams, some 10-6 Giants teams that went to Super Bowls and lost, and we will never at all, ever, ever talk about. Yeah, but Eli went there. Congratulations. We're not going to remember him. We're going to remember the Patriots, which would have been then 20-0. And we're going to remember whoever else the Giants beat. Somebody remind me, because I'm talking as I'm just talking and thinking right now.
Yeah.
So, and Patriots both times. So when you think about it, so I'm like, if Eli doesn't win those Super Bowls, he just commands a bunch of 9, 8, and 10-win teams over the course of his career. And even when you look at it, you're like, man, Eli went to a Super Bowl and only won 10. It's nothing. It's a whole bunch of nothing.
Well, see, you've been hanging out with the alien too long, because the alien came in here and was talking about these guys in totality. And I'm like, look, I am only talking about 2 years of Joe Burrow. I know what those guys added up to in fullness, including Eli Manning. I don't know what Joe Burrow's going to add up to in fullness. All I'm saying is I think he's going to be bubble wrapped because he's in Cincinnati. If he leaves Cincinnati, Matthew Stafford style, pressure changes, expectation changes. You may be on a better team now. Let's go. He took that team from rags to riches. You and the alien are the worst people to go to the movies with, because as soon as the credits are over and we're starting to get into the movie, you're comparing it to your favorite movie. You're comparing it to the best movie you ever seen. I'm like, dog, it may be a slow build. But Joe Burrow's not even a slow build. This dude is looking amazing. This movie looks great. Will it be a blockbuster? Will it win an Oscar? I don't know, but sit y'all asses down and be still and quiet so we can see the movie.
You know the biggest issue, Big Dog?
Oh, here you go.
Is that the top 10 highest grossing films are extraterrestrial.
They all got a little alien or something in it. Yeah,
and the alien would just spoil it. That's the real problem.
Coming up is... E.T. was amazing, too. Is Aaron Donald really thinking about retiring? Is he really? Like, really? We'll tell you if the Rams superstar actually should. That's next on Speak For Yourself. I think there's one that doesn't have a now put Super Bowl champion on his resume. But before the game, Rodney Harrison said there's a, quote, strong possibility he could leave football and retire. After the win, Rams GM Les Snead said his superstar will, quote, sleep on it and see, but I'm not buying it. Take a listen to Donald on his future.
I'm just in the moment right now. I'm going to join this with my family. I got my kid. I promised my daughter this when she was 5 years old. To play in the confetti. She got to do that today. Was that fun? So I'm just in the moment right now. I'm going to enjoy this with my teammates, my family. And I'm just going to be in the moment and enjoy this today. For a couple days. How about that? It's a blessing.
Acho, should Aaron Donald retire?
If Aaron Donald wants to be considered the greatest of all time, he should absolutely retire. And he should retire immediately, because legacy is greater than reality. So if Aaron Donald wants to be considered the greatest of all time, hang it up now, while your legacy will be even greater than the amazing reality that you have created for yourself. Realistically speaking and statistically speaking, Aaron Donald probably should not be mentioned in the conversations for best defensive players of all time. I'm not even going to talk about LT. Let me just go with the lower hanging fruit of Reggie White, statistically speaking. Because Reggie White, 2-time defensive player of the year. Reggie White, All-Pro 8 times first team, but 13 All-Pros total. Reggie White, 13-time Pro Bowler. Reggie White, 198 career sacks. Reggie White, 12 10-sack seasons. In reality, Reggie White is clearly, abundantly better statistically than Aaron Donald for longer. But we're talking about legacy. And people remember legacy more than they remember reality. So if Aaron Donald wants to be considered the greatest of all time, hang it up now, and in legacy, in narrative form, you will be, because people will look at Aaron Donald. What if he would have been a first-team All-Pro for the rest of his career? Then he probably would have ended up like Reggie White. Aaron Donald, what if he would have been a Pro Bowler every year of his career? Then he probably would have ended up like Reggie White. But if Aaron Donald keeps playing and happens to fall off, well, now we don't even have to debate, because our faith is now very simply put our eyes. Let me give it to you in the way that, Sel, you always give it to me, and viewers, I hope you listen to this one. A man who will remain nameless called Marcellus Wiley.
Hamburger.
A man who will remain nameless called Marcellus Wiley was discussing J.J. Watt.
He J.J. Watt, and he here to rock.
J.J. Watt had been balling. J.J. Watt had 20 and a half sacks. J.J. Watt had 17 and a half sacks. And this man called Marcellus Wiley and said, hey, call me in a couple years and see if he keeps it up. Well, Sell didn't have to call the man back in a couple years because J.J. Watt clearly did not keep it up. J.J. Watt, had he retired after the first 8 years of his career with 3 Defensive Players of the Year, with 5 Pro Bowls, with a 20-sack season, a 17-and-a-half sack season, and a 16-and-a-half sack season, we might have considered J.J. Watt the best defensive player to have ever played the game. But J.J. Watt kept playing the game. And his last 3 years, 6 sacks, 4 sacks, 1 sack, and/or 5 sacks, 4 sacks, 1 sack. So instead, we're just looking at J.J. Watt like, man, he used to be great. Aaron Donald, retire now, be considered the greatest to ever play the game. Continue playing, and you might prove yourself not to be.
Man, golly. Woo! Let me take a breath. All right, one sentence. Don't retire, you're saying because.
I'm saying,
or are you saying do retire
and
because
be
and be considered?
That's my first answer.
Okay, let's go. Let's stop playing with fire, y'all. And words that rhyme with it like retire. Let's stop doing this. This is a contract negotiation ploy. This is him trying to get more money. And I get it, it's the Too Short model. This is my last album. Let me get out of Jive Records and then just keep putting albums out. He gonna keep playing. He's too young. He made an emotional decision, if he even made a decision, because he was looking at his daughter with confetti in his eyes, talking about, I made you happy, right? Because I lived up to my promise. That's not a logical decision. So let's look at what logic would say about this. You have something going when you say if you interrupt your greatness that people would think it was greater than it was. You have something going there. But let me just start here by saying him retiring, even interrupted, he's not the best defensive player ever. He's not even the best defensive lineman ever. And I know a lot of people.
Where you at?
Let's go. You ain't the best to ever do it. Now, you keep playing like this, then you get into that conversation. But at this point forward, I can't give it to you. One, there is a defensive lineman. Let me give Bruce Smith his props. 2-time Defensive Player of the Year versus you as a 3-time Defensive Player of the Year, Aaron Donald. But that guy that you're talking about, and longevity matters, is the all-time leader in sacks and all-time leader in tackles at the defensive line position. You don't have that. Okay, so you're going to play, I don't have the longevity argument, but I was on pace to doing just that. Now, we got to talk about a Reggie White and a Bruce Smith, who are 2 guys who played at the highest level and played till they couldn't play anymore. We're talking about 15 and 19 seasons. Longevity matters. Now, you gave me a J.J. Watt model that is really interesting because I think it's starting to get undermined by 2 people. Tony Boselli, let's be real, and Terrell Davis, who when they played, and I played against both, woo! There's no room between how well they played and someone playing greater. There's no room. But they didn't do it long enough. Now, Hall of Famers, but with conversation, with scrutiny. Aaron Donald, you're out of that conversation and scrutiny. You're beyond that. But if you try to insert yourself into the greatest defensive player, greatest defensive lineman ever, you're going to hear the same scrutiny that Tony Boselli and Terrell Davis heard about just trying to get into the Hall of Fame. Why? Because if you look at it, I'm not going to shoot at Aaron Donald because his career is 10,000 times better than mine, but I am going to do my job. Simeon Rice, do y'all remember?
97.
In 7 postseason games has 7 sacks. Aaron Donald in 10 postseason games has 6 sacks. Simeon Rice is not Aaron Donald. But Aaron Donald also doesn't even have 100 sacks yet. 100 sacks, Aaron Donald, not there yet. You're going to stop this short of getting there when we got a Reggie White, 124, DeMarcus Ware, 111, Jared Allen, who doesn't get enough love. I'll tell you a Jared Allen conversation that will blow your mind. Maybe I'll tell the viewers as well. And Aaron Donald's not even at 100 yet. And Bruce is like, you're not at 100 and I'm at 200? Come on, y'all. I know perception is reality to some, but it can't be that to all. He has to keep playing. Longevity does matter.
Ooh. So really we are having a conversation of, is Aaron Donald the best defensive player to have ever played the game.
Okay, so we can get off that he ain't retiring.
No, well, he shouldn't retire because go make another $100 million. Aaron Donald, you can make another $100 million in the next 5 to 6 years.
Let me make this point out, Joe.
Please do.
3 years remaining on a deal with $55 million on it. That's 18.3 per year with no guaranteed money left. You always tell me, as soon as you hear no guaranteed money, watch them. They about to start doing something. I'm not mad at them. I just wish we lived in a world when you have to go through these antics to say that basically, here's the blank check if you're less need.
And I also think it was very tactful. Viewer, keep in mind, all of a sudden we hear right before the game from a sideline reporter that Aaron Donald might consider retiring. This might be his last game. Come on, y'all.
The homie, former player.
Exactly.
I hear you.
We got to put 2 and 2 together.
Yeah. Come on now.
Yeah, if Aaron Donald, my thought is very simple. The only reason we're considering Aaron Donald the greatest player to have ever played defensively is for one of 2 reasons. One, prisoners of the moment, right? His last play we've seen him in, he's forcing a incomplete pass. Ring me. He said he wanted it. Plus, Aaron Donald's first 8 years of his career, 7 first-team All-Pros, 8 Pro Bowls, best defensive tackle by a large margin. Aaron Donald beast. But we have to start to put credence at some point in our life, in our sports fandom.
Please.
Can we please put credence on longevity?
Please.
At some point in time in our life, in our sports fandom, can we please put credence on the duration of excellence? Like, I love when players are great. And Aaron Donald is in another stratosphere. He's in that Barry Sanders stratosphere.
Yeah.
But to me, I have always, and maybe because I'm from Dallas, I've always put respect on Emmitt Smith. Because Emmitt Smith as a running back, and y'all know what they say about running backs when they get over 30. Emmitt Smith as a running back played well into his 30s at a high level. Now, playing behind the greatest offensive line in history of the NFL, y'all call it what you want. But Emmitt Smith was still nice coming out of Florida because he was a first-round pick. So let's not act like he wasn't a dude. So I put credence on duration of excellence. I also put credence on LeBron James. He's been doing it at this high of a level for this long. I personally respect that. So as great as Aaron Donald is, and boy, is he great, you got to put more respect on the Bruce Smith's name. You got to put more respect on the Reggie White's name. Now, maybe they had more reason to play 20 and 15 years because they weren't getting paid as much. Call it what you want. But I not only look at how excellent are you, but I look at how long have you sustained your excellence?
I love that you brought up LeBron James because I think it's going to apply here in the sense of if LeBron James, who they say now is going to be projected to go down as the NBA's leading scorer in history, all-time leading scorer in history, despite you being a facilitator first. That's insane. And LeBron James may go down with the number 1 in assists, they say, projected. Depends on how long he plays and projections. But imagine a world, and LeBron is in the GOAT conversation. Some say barely hanging on. Some say closer than you think. Whatever. Imagine LeBron James cuts his career in half. Let's say 4 years ago, 5 years ago, and he's like, I'm on pace to be Michael Jordan and beat him. So let me just stop right now and let the perception be the projection. Would that have worked? Hell no. So don't let it work here. Don't let it work with Aaron Donald. When you see Bruce Smith with 200 sacks, he's like, at least get to halfway of me before we have this conversation. Now, here's where Aaron Donald may make this argument work in terms of a gumbo type of argument. Win a 9th first-team All-Pro because Bruce, Reggie, and LT all have 8. Get your 9th one. Now you're eclipsing someone that everyone's going to say you're better than. Win 4 Super Bowls. That ain't happening in this era. But guess what? Before Bruce, before we were saying LT, before we were saying Reggie White, we were saying Mean Joe Green. He won 4 Super Bowls. He's not in this conversation now, but 4 Super Bowls would eclipse all the other defensive linemen. Win back-to-back Super Bowls. Remember when Reggie White won his? 3 sacks in it. Next one, he didn't get a sack against Elway. Win back-to-backs. It's just the only way he's going to get there is almost the LeBron James way. You got to have longevity, and you're going to have every other category checked that surpasses all the other greats.
The only thing I'm going to add for the fans, because me and Sale going to keep it real for y'all, maybe because you're talking to defensive lineman, linebacker.
Yeah.
I always give more credit to Reggie White and Bruce Smith. Y'all know how hard it is to get a sack in the National Football League? To get one sack. So I played me 4 years. Clearly, I only started a handful of games. I got 1 sack. Problem.
Yeah.
It was against the Niners on Colin Kaepernick. They had a holding penalty.
Oh, did he take a knee?
We accept. You're so stupid. They had a holding penalty. We accepted the holding penalty. You know what happens if you accept a penalty on a play you get a sack on?
Give me that.
Nullified sack.
No sack on you.
I know simple single-handedly. You played 10 years. You had a 13-and-a-half season,
13 and a 10 and a half.
And a 10 and a half.
Then it goes 6. Then it goes 3.
It's hard
5.
to get 1.
Yeah.
Bruce Smith got 200. Reggie White got 198. Aaron Donald is amazing. Amazing. And he got 98. Getting to the 150s, 160s, 170s, 180s, 190s.
Yeah.
And then had that conversation.
Okay, since it's our show, we got to do 2 things. One, I got to give you that story on my man Jared Allen. But first, what did I tell you how to get to 200 sacks? Bruce Smith. Let me put Bruce Smith in one sentence. Either you play 20 years and get 10 sacks each year, or you play 10 years and get 20 sacks each year. I can't be your lover. Last point. We're in film study, and there's this new defensive end that's on punt team, and he plays sporadically as a defender at DN. And coach is like, I want you guys to watch this guy. We're like, who, the punt team dude, the backup? He's like, yeah, I know this kid. I've been watching him for a while on film. His name is Jared Allen. This is his rookie year. He's like, watch this kid. I've not seen such tremendous technique before. Jared Allen became Jared Allen. Meanwhile, in that meeting, we were laughing and giggling. Now look at me. Jared Allen, respect. Aaron Donald, respect. But Bruce Smith and Reggie White, boy, stop. Coming up, Kyler Murray's being called immature. We'll tell you if the Cardinals should be afraid of committing long-term to their quarterback. Next on Speak for Yourself. Jared Allen need to get the whole thing.
Man, we got to head to Arizona. Reports over the weekend said that the Cardinals are calling Kyler Murray, quote, self-centered, immature, and someone who points fingers. Boy, sounds like Marcellus. Boy, you ain't right, Sal. Now, on Murray's side, a report said he feels he's being framed as the scapegoat for their playoff loss to the Rams. Murray responded, y'all know how it is, social media. Yesterday, he said, all of this nonsense is not what I'm about, close quote. He also vowed to, quote, grow and get better. I wonder, did he mean grow literally? I don't know. Anyway, Sel, should the Cardinals be afraid of committing to Kyler Murray long term?
No. Why should they be afraid to commit to someone who's helped their franchise every single year he's been there improve? Look at what Kyler Murray has done as an Arizona Cardinal. Here's a simple sentence. Kyler Murray was going to be the MVP if he didn't get injured. Matter of fact, he was starting to create some distance before the injury. And this is what I want to highlight to the Arizona Cardinals. Don't forget who you have in terms of talent, in terms of production. Kyler Murray is special. Now, a lot of people predicted this because he was the number 1 overall pick. And you don't become that by accident. Now, what Kyler Murray has also done is grow with his coach as well, Mr. Kingsbury. So those two now have, as you will always say, a head coach and quarterback combination that you can win with. When you have that, you don't mess with that. You don't let the personality get in front of the production unless the personality is greater than the production. That's not what this is. This is as simple as Kyler Murray got in his feelings at the end of the season, the end of that Rams game, and didn't want to go back in. Why? Because the game was out of hand and Kyler Murray was in his feelings. Let me tell you why he was in his feelings. And I want them to understand this upstairs in the brass so that they can understand who Kyler Murray is. I got time to hang around Kyler Murray. I think it was rookie symposium, whatever. Kyler Murray is not the one that walks into the room and say, hey, I'm Kyler Murray, how are you? Kyler Murray is the one that's expecting you to walk in the room and say, hey, where's Kyler Murray? Oh, there you are. And there's a big difference if you know those two different types of personality. I don't think one's cocky and one's not. I just think that they're different. Kyler Murray is sitting there, and I don't know if you've been here, Acho, when your lack of success is not merit-based. It's based on bad luck. You ever be in a position like Kyler Murray found himself playing against the Los Angeles Rams in the playoffs without his best receiver? In a position where he's looking around like, the only reason I'm even in this compromised position, not my full self, and not without my full arsenal of receivers, is because of bad luck. You don't lose confidence when you're in situations where you fall down the hill and you're in a bad place because you fell off. You lose confidence when all of a sudden you think, is this universe conspiring against me? Because I had bad luck. Kyler Murray in the same season went from MVP to dog. You spazzing in this game, you can't even finish. So if you're the Arizona Cardinals, take a collective breath. Respect who you have in terms of greatness in Kyler Murray and commit to it.
I got a problem, though, with what you're saying, Sal.
I heard it.
You know the definition of luck, maybe not Merriam-Webster's, maybe not dictionary.com, but colloquially speaking, luck, when preparation meets opportunity.
Oh.
The problem was that Kyler Murray had an opportunity in the Rams playoff game versus the Arizona Cardinals. I was there. We talked about it on the show afterwards.
Yep.
But Kyler Murray was not prepared. You create your own luck. Luck, when preparation meets opportunity. If you are not prepared for the opportunity, then we will deem that as unlucky. When in fact you weren't unlucky, you just simply were not prepared for the moment that met you. So when I look at Kyler Murray, I'm like, wait a second, I don't know that he's unlucky, big dog. I just don't know that he's prepared, but let me have the greater conversation, which I know you will love. Through the first 3 years of these quarterbacks' careers, 26 and younger, these ones have playoff wins. Deshaun Watson, who's currently still 26, he coming back to the league. Joe Burrow,
is he?
Playoff wins. Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Justin Herbert, Lamar Jackson, and even Baker Mayfield. That's what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of them cats. Lamar, Baker, Allen, Mahomes, Burrow, Watson, and Kyler. You don't have a playoff win and you have a career losing record? 22, 23, and 1. So let me get this straight. You have no playoff wins. You have a career-losing record, and we should commit to you long-term, even though you cause drama on social media. We too grown for that now, Kyler.
Cause drama on social media materializes to an organization?
Yes, because to me, it's a signifying factor of a lack of maturity.
I give you that.
That's what it is. It's like, wait a second. If you and I have beef and you're going to run to social media and delete all our pictures, that's what Kyler Murray did. True. Run to social media and remove me from your bio, then that's a lack of maturity. I know you've been in these situations, and maybe you hadn't because in your prior relationships, I don't know if social media was out. I ain't going to date my brother.
Thank God, boy. I wouldn't be up here, I'll tell you that.
But if you're in a relationship with somebody, big dog, and I don't know, y'all get into a spout, and all of a sudden she deletes all her pictures of you from her page.
That part.
You might not say, oh, we have to break up over this,
no.
But you're going to question the maturation level. Like, wait a second. We got into one small argument, and you go and wipe me off your page, and now you got to do the worst thing in the world. I can't stand when people do this. When you delete all the pictures of your significant other and then you put them all back up there, it's like, we don't need to know about your drama.
I got hacked, damn it.
And Kyler Murray, to me, it's a sign of immaturity. I don't necessarily want to commit to Kyler Murray because when I look up this next generation of young quarterbacks, where does Kyler Murray fall? Not better than Mahomes, not better than Allen, not better than Herbert, not better than Burrow, not better than Watson. So where does he fall? And then also, when I look at his team success, he doesn't have that career-losing record. And then lastly, when I look at his maturation level, I'm like, bro, you went to social media?
Damn.
Like, what are we talking about?
I know, Acho, I know you're making a strong argument. God, you could convict this dude. But the defense attorney in me is now going to speak. As you know, grown folks know that social media is not reality, right?
Of course not. Yes, sir.
So guess what? We're not going to really let it dictate how we think of you. We're not going to be happy. You're going to mess up our day. You're going to have us perturbed. But you ain't going to change the commas on this check because of something that's not real. All right. You take all my pictures down, my exes, I'm sure they would have done that because they did it around the house. Like all the pictures in the frame, put them down, slam them. Okay, all right. We still went to El Torito's. It still was cracking that night, so I don't want to hear about this. I don't know if Kyler Murray is in a bad situation based on some of the things that you just talked about, playoff wins versus non-playoff win and those type of quarterbacks. Is it good company to be with Baker Mayfield in terms of being a franchise quarterback going forward right now? We'll see next year when he comes back healthy. But right now, so what? Baker Mayfield has a playoff win. Justin Herbert doesn't. Would you rather be in company of Baker Mayfield or Justin Herbert in terms of projections? We already know what that is, right? So Kyler Murray has to just hang his hat on this. Dude, we improved. Dude, we were really a good team before my injury. We were undefeated before I got hurt. I wasn't a MVP candidate. I was the MVP before injury. So if Joe Burrow gets to expunge his record because of injury in his first year, why can't Kyler Murray get a mulligan on this situation? I tell you, he felt like he was in a bad situation or circumstance just because of injury. I've been there before. Let me finish with this little short story because you brought it up. Tell me this, Acho, because I hate when we lay on some of the old parables and wise tales of you create your own luck, you said, right? I know this for a fact. I think you create your own good luck. But let me ask you, do you create your own bad luck? Because in a situation, my first 4 injuries in the NFL, what Kyler Murray went through this year, I didn't create them. 2 of them, I was in the best shape of my life. And the other 2, I was trying to climb back up that mountain, didn't get to that same summit, and then got knocked down again. Do you create your own bad luck? Because this year he had bad luck.
That's a good question. I think you can create your own bad luck. We know the dudes who pull hamstrings, and we like, bruh, you pulled a hamstring on a 5th play of the game, and turned out he was out the night before, was dehydrated.
Pounding, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, you can in that opportunity. I do fervently believe you create all your own good luck.
Yeah.
Even if you win a lotto ticket, you had to go to the gas station or the 7-Eleven, and you had to buy the ticket. So even if the luckiest of things that can be accomplished in this life, winning a lotto ticket, you still had to do something.
Got to do it.
In order to win that lotto ticket. So I fervently believe you create all of your own good luck. As far as bad luck, to your point, some things are just quote unquote unlucky. But here's my last final point in regards to Kyler.
Okay.
You've played 3 years now. We have no playoff wins.
Okay.
Now, you said Herbert, but Herbert is on the qualification of 2. I gave you all guys quarterbacks 3 years or more. No playoff wins. You've played 3 years now, and you don't have a winning record. But more importantly, you played 3 years now when our biggest claim to fame for Kyler is he was about to win MVP. I know another guy who we talk about frequently.
Your boy.
Biggest claim to fame.
Wentzy.
Carson Wentz. But he was about to win MVP.
Yeah.
If he didn't get hurt.
Yeah.
And after he got hurt, he was never the same. I'm not saying Kyler will never be the same, but who is Kyler now to be the same of? Lastly, bruh, 5th-year option, $28 million. Franchise tag, $30+ million. You pay him long-term, $150 million. Is Kyler worth any of those numbers? Because I don't think the Cardinals want to be the Rams or the Eagles and look at Jared Goff and look at Carson Wentz like, dang, we in there for $130 million and we're not really our quarterbacks of the future. I don't think the Cardinals want to make that mistake. That's why you don't pay him.
Oh, okay. At least go here with me. You said a lot of damning things about him, and they're all true. But he also didn't have his best receiver.
Of course, yes,
right?
sir. Yes,
like,
sir.
just be real about it. We put up a stat before about the Super Bowl, Matthew Stafford, with OBJ and without OBJ.
Yes,
and that was compromising Cooper Kupp. Cooper Kupp was like, OBJ hurt, why am I not getting mine, right? It affects all. When you don't have DeAndre Hopkins for 7 games, including the playoff game, you want to get rid of Kyler Murray, who has improved in his overall record every single year. 5, 8, 9 wins. This team is improving. The team was on pace to doing something special. Then the injuries caught up to him. Would you not run it back one more time to see if they would have good luck or at least give that a mulligan?
No, let me clarify.
Okay.
Let me clarify before y'all rip to
Sound
Twitter.
like you don't want him back.
Kyler's on his 3rd year. Definitely I want him back for that 4th year.
Of course.
I would probably pick up the 5th-year option, which you have to do over the next 4 months before the season starts. Yeah, I'd probably pick up the 5th-year option just because it's a worthy gamble, right? Let me get him for $28 million. That's not a ton of money.
In the same spirit that you picked up Baker Mayfield's, or this is obvious you pick it up? It sounds like you almost have trepidation, a little anxiety about it.
I have a little trepidation to sell. This year opened up my eyes to something different. This NFL, and I hope it opened up your eyes too. The difference between great quarterbacks, good quarterbacks, and bad quarterbacks is as great a chasm as we have ever seen in football. Like the top 8 of what was Stafford, what was Brady, what was Rodgers, what was Allen, what was Mahomes, what was Herbert, and maybe what was Burrow. And maybe it's just 7. Again, doing this off the top of my head. Russell
7.
Wilson, he was nice, but I didn't love Russ this year.
Okay, you said 7.
So the top 7 to 8 of what were like elite quarterbacks this year, and then that next tier of what was Dak Prescott, what was Kyler Murray, what was Kirk Cousins, what was Jimmy G. That next tier, it's a great chasm. And like Colin says, is he a confetti guy? Meaning, can you see confetti falling on this quarterback after he's won the Super Bowl? Is Kyler a confetti guy? This year, more than any other year, really opened up my eyes to like, Derek Carr's good, Ryan Tannehill's good, Kyler Murray's good, Kirk Cousins is good, Dak Prescott is good. But, man, them other dudes is like, they look like confetti dudes.
I don't know how much money y'all had growing up. I'm hearing conflicting reports. Sometimes I think you were broke, and then sometimes I heard
We started broke, and then we pivoted to wealthy.
Pivoted. Oh, that's what y'all call it? You mean got paid? Okay, anything. I grew up all the way broke, right? So this helps because I remember there was this one, I'm in the music, DJing, et cetera. The one day I come home and realize that my mom had bought us a new radio. And our new stereo, I should call it. It wasn't mine, it was ours. Had individual knobs for bass, mid, and treble.
Talk about
now, the one I had before was one knob, and it was bass, mid, treble. And I didn't know where to put it because it didn't sound perfect. I just realized that Acho don't know where to put Kyler Murray. Because Kyler Murray, you said 7 to 8. Kyler Murray this year was 8th in passer rating this season, right there at that mid. You don't know what to do with him, right? 100-plus passer rating in 14 of his games. 2nd in completion percentage. 4th in passing yards per attempt. 10th in total touchdowns. Dog, Kyler Murray was beasting, and exactly. But this is with injury. This is with the broke stereo. Next year, healthy Hopkins, healthy him. Oh, all this going to be separate. Coming up, the Rams are all celebrating after Super Bowl Sunday. Me too. I'm still on it. But we'll tell you who gained the most from their big win next on Speak for Yourself. Matthew Stafford, Aaron Donald, and Cooper Kupp are all partying with Mickey Mouse at Disneyland after winning the Super Bowl. MICKEYMOUSE. They all played a key part in the Rams winning their first title in over 20 years. Sean McVay praised his players yesterday. Take a listen. Okay.
I thought our team came together at the right moments, and our best players shined the brightest when they had to. But something about being a part of something bigger than yourself is what's so special about this group. They're world champions. Love these guys. Just so grateful for it. So grateful for Mr. Kroenke and being able to work for a great organization.
So, Acho, who gained the most from the Rams Super Bowl win?
Man, the person who gained the most is the person I was absolutely most nervous for while I was watching the game.
Let's go.
Jalen Ramsey.
He gained the most?
He gained the most.
Jalen Ramsey?
He gained the most from the Super Bowl win. Why? If the Rams would have lost, do you know what would have been said about Jalen Ramsey?
Good point.
If the Rams would have lost, do y'all know how we would have led every show with Jalen Ramsey as the most overrated player in the National Football League? Jalen Ramsey underperforms in the biggest moment. Jalen Ramsey, the ultimate choke job in the biggest game. Jalen Ramsey, Jalen Ramsey, Jalen Ramsey. We would have crushed Ramsey. Now, I wouldn't have because Ramsey is repped by David, and y'all know.
That's your dog.
I don't crush
but I would have.
by David. But we would have crushed Ramsey. He gives up the most yards he's ever given up in his career in the Super Bowl. He gives up the most yards we've seen a player give up in a Super Bowl since 2006 when we started recording the statistic. We wouldn't have talked about the PI calls, and we wouldn't have talked about the fact that Jamar Chase made a one-handed catch. We wouldn't have talked about none of that. If somehow the Rams lose this game, all we are leading with is Jalen Ramsey fails and flops in the biggest moment. Can you believe the Rams gave up 2 first-round picks for Jalen Ramsey, who let the team down? We want our picks back. And you know what we would have shown more than anything is that picture of Jalen Ramsey at the end of the game on his face with Jamar Chase behind him. Look now. Joe Burrow had more time to throw that ball. Now, these are the pictures that had surfaced. It's hard to see the actual shot. If Joe Burrow got more time to throw that ball, that might be a tug to Jamar Chase on Jalen Ramsey. So, I was so nervous, my dog Jalen Ramsey, because I'm watching that game like, if the Rams lose, Jalen Ramsey is going to have the longest offseason of life. Now, this goes back to our last conversation. I do think some of those things were bad luck. T. Higgins hits Jalen Ramsey in the face, turns his whole helmet, refs don't call it. T. Higgins 80-yard touchdown. Jamar Chase catches a one-handed ball on Jalen Ramsey. So I do think some of those were bad luck, but we can say Stafford, we can say Kroenke, we can say McVay, we can say all these cats. Jalen Ramsey gained the most by that Rams win.
Man, I don't know how I feel about what you just said, especially if I'm Jalen Ramsey, your boy. First of all, Jalen Ramsey, I want to say it and declare it. I don't have beef with you, even if you have beef with me. But
Does he?
I don't know. I just told him a couple years ago he wasn't playing that well, and he wasn't. And he's playing better now. I don't know. But then watching that Super Bowl, I was like, ooh, I might have been right. I don't know. That's not said. That's not what I'm trying to say. You're a West snitch. We up here right now talking about something we shouldn't be talking about. Jalen Ramsey escaped all that, but you just gave him 4 minutes of not escaping it. I I don't know what kind of friends y'all are, but it sounds like Jalen, I'm more your friend than this dude. All right, anyway, let me get back to my answer. Damn, you just called him out. And that was interesting because right behind Jalen Ramsey, in terms of we need to win this, because if not, they're going to look at the same thing differently, is Matthew Stafford. Am I correct? Matthew Stafford, without OBJ stats, all of a sudden would have been highlighted because that was most of the game. And all of a sudden you would say, yeah, he started off fast, and then he allowed Joe Burrow to get back into the game and finally lose to Joe Burrow. I think Matthew Stafford benefited the most, even more than Jalen Ramsey. It was pretty obvious to everyone, even Cincinnati fans, that, yeah, that shouldn't have been a touchdown, 75-yarder on Jalen Ramsey, but we got away with one, right? But when you look at it from Matthew Stafford's perspective, if that pass was completed, if he had a half a second more and got that to Jamar Chase, and he started doing whatever, what the hell is that? They start doing that. Matthew Stafford, you let a second-year player come back and win, and you were at home in the Super Bowl? Let me say this, though. Matthew Stafford was a guy that we thought couldn't win a playoff game before he touched down at LAX a year ago. Now, look at Matthew Stafford in terms of what he's benefited from because the Rams won the Super Bowl and he is their franchise quarterback. So from those two angles, one, thank God we won, and two, I am a winner, now actually properly perceived as a winner. I think Matthew Stafford gained the most.
You know what's a good point? The greatest point is that Matthew Stafford, he didn't outplay Joe Burrow.
Not like that, nah.
And Matthew Stafford, he didn't really play well. But because of the victory, Matthew Stafford is going to go down, as many are saying now, clearly a Hall of Famer, but more importantly, Super Bowl champion. More importantly, now we're all chastising the Detroit Lions like it was all their fault, Detroit. We've completely omitted Matthew Stafford of any sort of fault. Now we're overlooking the fact that Matthew Stafford, the great Matthew Stafford, has only been to one Pro Bowl. We're overlooking the fact that Matthew Stafford ain't never been an all-pro player. We're overlooking the fact that Matthew Stafford's never been the best at the position during the course of a season because he's a Super Bowl champion. Oh, and we're overlooking the fact that Matthew Stafford wasn't even Super Bowl MVP. All because the Rams won. So I really love your point. Clearly Matthew Stafford gained a lot. I was just thinking, because I was watching that game, I was like, I need the Rams to win because Ramsey will have a long day if they do not. So for me, it was like, let me go with the higher hanging fruit of Ramsey. But clearly Matthew Stafford gained an exponential.
No, since you opened up those cans of worms for Jalen Ramsey, I really felt bad for him. That first play by Jamar Chase, look, that's on you, Jalen Ramsey, even though that's an amazing play. But that just alerted me to the expectations of Jalen Ramsey. Because if you make an amazing and absurd play on someone and people look at him like, damn, what happened to you? That means he the man. So me, the football player, I was like, that don't count. Then all of a sudden, it was that 75-yarder. And I was like, look, it's intentional to me because I did it before against offensive linemen. You grab the bottom of their cage bar, their head drops down, then you bow him with a rip move. I saw him do the same thing and get by him and catch the ball. I gave him a pass, but I was like, that's not good. Then do you remember when Chase caught that,
17-yarder.
17-yarder.
That was the one. That was the only one.
That was the one. That was the first time I was like, all right, Jalen, this might not be your best game, and it's going to be a long off season. But this is what happened to stamp it. Al Michaels and them are saying, yeah, not your best performance and having a rough going at it, right? This is the most watched television event in the world. And they're saying someone that some people don't even know who he is, right? 100-some million people watching. They don't watch it every week. They don't know Jalen Ramsey like that. And they're like, oh, he's not playing well. And that's Jalen Ramsey. I felt for him in that moment. All in all, though, I still think Matthew Stafford, dog. Matthew Stafford's a whole different dude. He's a made man now. Coming up, the Rams are the champs, and the Bengals came up short. Tell you who's more likely to return to the Super Bowl next on Speak for Yourself.
The Bengals will try to return to the Super Bowl next season in the competitive AFC. And the Rams, of course, got a lot of questions this offseason, including retirement buzz surrounding Sean McVay and Aaron Donald. The Rams have the third best odds to win it all next season, while the Bengals have the fifth best odds, according to Fox Bet Sportsbook. So, Sal, who you got is more likely to return to the Super Bowl, Rams or Bengals?
I got the Rams, and I think there's a huge divide between the Rams and the Bengals in terms of their opportunities going forward. I look at the Bengals as a team that really overachieved. If you look at them, how disciplined they played this year, as Coach would say, within their skin, this team was the least penalized team in the NFL. This team also found itself down more times at halftime than it was up. So this is a team that was really relying on, hey, let the other team lose the game, and more importantly, let us catch up to them and be victorious at the end. To me, that's a formula for disaster more so than for success, because the odds of you being that disciplined again going forward and the odds of you always being captain comeback, those are tough odds. Look at the Rams, though. They have a coach that just now became the youngest coach ever to win a Super Bowl, just surpassing Mike Tomlin, who was the youngest coach ever to win a Super Bowl. Has been to the Super Bowl 2 times in the last 5 years. So if Sean McVay is the youngest coach to ever win a Super Bowl, let's just dare to say his best days are still in front of him. He's on a short list of coaches that went to a Super Bowl in their first 5 seasons. And let me just tell you, it's an impressive list. We have my man Mike Tomlin, as I already mentioned, won his Super Bowl, been to 2. Jimmy Johnson won his couple Super Bowls. Joe Gibbs, for those who don't know, won 3. Tom Flores, for those who don't know, won 4. And now we got Sean McVay versus the Bengals. And you were talking earlier on blocks about how the Joe Burrow situation in the AFC at the quarterback position, oh, man, it's hell to pay. There's a Justin Herbert who hasn't even been to the postseason yet. We're talking about Josh Allen. We're talking about Patrick Mahomes. We're talking about Lamar Jackson. We're talking about guys that may get into place and get in the way where Joe Burrow, who's not a Pro Bowler yet, Joe Burrow, who looks at a team that overachieved, 2 wins, 4 wins, Super Bowl, where do you go to now? I don't know, man. If you make me bet, I would say the Rams, and I would say the Rams in a landslide.
Yeah, if you made me bet, I'll put a year's salary. Put your year's salary worth it. It's got to be the Rams. First and foremost, I don't even have to talk about the Rams or the Bengals to tell you why the Rams have a better chance. I'm just going to talk about their surroundings.
Okay.
Remember, we said, Sel, in life, everything is relative. Mm-hmm. If I don't gain any more money, but everybody else in America becomes poorer, then I can become the wealthiest person in the world. Not because anything I did, just because everybody around me got worse. So let's look at the surroundings of the Rams. Tampa Bay Buccaneers lost Tom Brady. They're going to get worse. San Francisco 49ers are going to lose Jimmy G. Obviously, they said that trade is impending. They're going to get worse, at least in the short term. Aaron Rodgers wants out of Green Bay. Packers, well, they're going to get worse. So we don't even have to talk about the Rams getting better. Mm-hmm. We just have to look at, well, who else was in the playoffs in the NFC? Packers, oh, they're going to get worse. Niners, they're going to get worse. Bucks, oh, they're going to get worse. So if everything in this life is relative and you are dependent upon, or your perception is dependent upon the success or lack thereof of those around you, then if everybody else gets worse, then relatively speaking, you got better. Flip side, Bengals. Lamar Jackson's going to be healthy next year. Huh? The Ravens are going to be just as good, if not better. Justin Herbert, he's only getting older, and Brandon Staley's going to be in his 2nd year. Chargers are going to get better. Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs. Mahomes still there. Kelsey's still there. Tyreek's still there. Andy Reid's still there. They're not getting any worse. Josh Allen, he's still ascending. And Sean McDermott's getting in his bag. They're going to get better. I don't have to talk to you about the Rams, and I don't have to talk to you about the Bengals. I just got to tell you about their neighborhoods. And by telling you about their neighborhoods, I can tell you everything about who's more likely to return to the Super Bowl. Rams are more likely to return to the Super Bowl because the road around them is going to be much easier.
I hate to do this to you, big dog, but I stopped listening once you mentioned money. You know me. I'm all about that dough. That was a funny example. You said if I don't make another dollar and everybody got poor, you would be the richest man in the world.
Everybody else goes broke.
But you know how long you would have to wait for that to happen? Let's start at the top. I had to run this. You know, when you're talking, I was like, I can't believe this. Jeff Bezos. Let's wait. Y'all want to see how long we're going to have to wait for Jeff Bezos to get broke compared to Acho, Poured and Acho? You know what he makes in a day? Now, this is just a random Google search, and I don't know if it's real or not, but even if it's wrong, golly, we're doing the wrong things. You know what he makes? No, let's start here. He makes $3,715 a second. He ain't caught you yet. So 1 second. Oh, he ain't caught you yet. He's getting up there, though. $222,000 a minute. Wait a couple more minutes. He'd be right here on $13 million an hour. What we doing here? He make $13 million an hour. You imagine putting that down on your W-2?
Look.
Oh, here we go. He makes $321 million a day. We ain't got to wait a whole day for that to happen. I'll show if Jeff Bezos is in that race.
Look, 10 more divorces, though.
Ooh, good point. You ain't got married yet. You already gonna catch it. Coming up, Matthew Stafford finally got a Super Bowl title. Damn! $300 million an hour? We're revealing our biggest winners and losers of the NFL season. Next on Speak for Yourself. Oh, it's a day. Oh, that's more divorce. $321 million a day. Welcome back to Speak for Yourself. It's time for our winners and losers. You caught that on slide, too. Look nice. Of the NFL season, but a quick reminder, we're not saying anyone or anything is an actual loser, but for one season only, they certainly look that way. All right, Archo, give us your losers from the season.
Man, I put a lot of thought into this one. My third biggest loser, my dog. I saw him this weekend, and it hurt my heart. Deshaun Jackson, Sel. Remember, Deshaun Jackson started the season with the Rams. Deshaun Jackson from L.A. Deshaun Jackson played out here in Cali. Deshaun Jackson was my teammate in Philly, been chasing the ring. One of the greatest deep threats the game of football has ever seen, and we don't put enough respect on his name. Deshaun Jackson could have got himself a Super Bowl ring
by staying
in the
still.
city he grew up in just by staying still. That's the best in life. When you ain't even got to work to get blessed. You just stay there and you just get to blessings. Favor ain't fair, and Deshaun Jackson, oh my God, I feel for him. Caught an L this season based upon the lack of a Super Bowl.
Can't do better than that. Let's hear the other two, though.
Number two.
What's this?
Carson Wentz.
Oh, you can do better. Let's go.
He dropped the ball, Sal. He dropped the ball because I'm sitting here and I'm thinking about it and I'm like, dang, Wentz, you go to your former head coach, Frank Wright, who you had an MVP caliber season with.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, the Colts have maximal belief in you. All you have to do to go to the playoffs is shut everybody up. Is beat the Jacksonville Jaguars, a team without a head coach, a team in complete disarray, a team that had 2 or 3 wins on the season, a team that's not even really trying to win the game because they'd rather have a better draft pick, and somehow y'all lose? Come on, Carson Wentz, big dog, second biggest loser on the season.
Oh, you got two.
You know what I hate? I'm thinking about this. My list is full of people that I love.
Yeah?
My list is full of people that I fight for. My list at number 1 is filled with Baker Mayfield.
Oh, yes, you flipped on him, too. Let's hear it.
Baker, 11 wins last season. Coming into this season, Baker and Kevin Stefanski were one of the best combinations and the best stories in all of ball. Baker, you led the Browns to not only a playoffs, but a playoff win for the first time since 1994. You had all the chips ahead of you, and more than that, Sal, Baker came into the season playing with house money.
Yeah.
What they say when you go to the casino is if you bring out $1,000 and you make $1,000, so you now have $2,000, do this. Put the $1,000 you came with back in your pocket.
Okay.
Because the other $1,000 that you're playing with is called house money. Even if you lose that $1,000, you still walk out with what you walked in with.
I like that.
Baker Mayfield went to the casino with $1,000.
What did he do?
He put the $1,000 on the table. He made another $1,000. Got $2,000 on the table.
Baker.
And he lost it all. And he walked out the casino broke. Because he walked out of Cleveland this year broke as can be. Even as good as that 11-win season was last year, we don't even think about it.
Broke. Do another commercial. Okay, you know what's crazy? Your number 1 and number 2, I've been trying to tell you about them. Anyway, you bet on them. Deshaun from my hood, so I can't even trip on that one. He shouldn't be on the loser list. But let me give you a loser list. That was actually true. Just protecting the homie. All right, my loser number 3 is Sam Darnold. Damn! Wasn't ideal until, bro. Remember Sam Darnold early this year? You forgot. See, he was 3-0. And remember, he couldn't even go to the locker room after the game. They was like, we got to do an interview with him. Standing. He was doing all those like stand-in interviews and stuff. He was the man. And then what had happened was, I don't know what happened. C-Mac got hurt. And then Sam Darnold was like, oh, I can't throw because he ain't here. And then it just got ugly. Got benched, came back. You forgot. In case you forgot. Okay, let's go to number 2.
Where you at?
The Packers organization. Let's go back to a year ago when they had the leverage. They was like, look, we know you're MVP, but you ain't going to be punking us. Well, now, Acho, look at present day. We know you still an MVP, but punk us. Oh, Aaron Rodgers sitting there like, let me see, 1, 2, 3 digit, comma, forget y'all cap, fool. Aaron Rodgers is running that organization now. But my number 1, gotta go with this loser right here, and this is sad. Russell Wilson, man, cooking up all the drama. Let's go back to a year ago. We watched the Super Bowl. Who was sitting next to the commissioner last year at the Super Bowl? Russell Wilson, right? Then what happened after that? Drama. Oh, a little list, 4 teams I'm going to go to. We've never seen Russell Wilson ever as a loser. He literally is a loser this year. It's the first season he ever had as a loser. And then you would think that he learned his lesson, right? Okay, I'm not going to cook up any more drama. I'm not going to send any more lists. I'm going to sit here and fix this. What did we see at the Super Bowl again this year? Him sitting next to the commissioner again. The cycle continues, the vicious cycle. First losing season, Russell Wilson's my number one loser.
I have one issue. I saw Russell on the red carpet on Saturday night with Sierra.
So you're going to be nice to him?
I can testify to the fact he ain't losing.
Oh, he winning, dog. He winning in real life. All right, Acho, let's get to our winner. Speaking of Russell Wilson.
Number 3 as my biggest winner, Deebo Samuel. All of a sudden, he turned into a household name. Deebo Samuel was a really good player in college. He was a good player in the NFL, but all of a sudden this year, he turned into an all-pro beast. Put some respect on his name. Crazy talented player.
Is Deebo on his birth certificate, or is that a nickname? Real talk.
I genuinely think Deebo's on his birth certificate. I saw Deebo on Wednesday, built like a backer. So I was wondering, like, why can't y'all tackle this man? When you watching at the home, I'm like, why can't you tackle him? He came up to me at this bowling event. I was like, what?
You tucked the chain in, didn't you? You're scary.
Anyway.
His name is Tyshawn, I heard.
Is it?
Tyshawn?
I like Deebo. Number 2, T.J. Watt. T.J. Watt, second in Defensive Player of the Year voting last year.
Got some of that.
I believe he was 3rd 2 years ago. Now he's number 1. When it comes down to T.J. Watt's Hall of Fame resume, which looks like it's already getting stacked up, T.J. Watt, Defensive Player of the Year.
T.J. Wiley. That's my brother from
Number 1 biggest winner. Shout out to Odell Beckham.
No, not right now.
Yes, because think about if you would have told Odell, but at the start of the season, you would be a Super Bowl champ and catch a touchdown in the Super Bowl, that would have changed and blown his mind. Even if you didn't tell him where. Okay. But now if you tell him, hey, not only are you going to be a Super Bowl champ, not only are you going to catch a touchdown in the Super Bowl, you are going to do it in Los Angeles. Where else would you rather play if you're Odell? What else could you accomplish if you're Odell? He went from literal rags. Cleveland with Baker to literal riches, Super Bowl with Stafford.
All true, except he got hurt. Now, is he a winner right now? He's a free agent and he's hurt. That hurts, but you're right. All the way to the point of injury. Amazing. Let me get to my number 3, which is a link to that as well. Good transition. Sports, rehab, and player safety. Why do I bring that up? There's some miracles of modern science that happening right now. Cam Akers just won a Super Bowl and tore his Achilles in the same season and came back and played. And played well in the playoffs, especially the first game against Arizona. T.J. Watt, beast. Remember, he messed his growing up and still went out there, tied the sack record. Micah Parsons played with a hyperextended knee the entire year, and he was Micah Parsons' dog. These dudes are out there doing different in rehab. All right, my number 2, let's go to super teams. Remember the idea of money can't buy you love? Well, it can buy you love and rings now. Stan Kroenke spent $8 billion, stadium relocation fees, et cetera, bought him a super team, all-star team. Remember that didn't work? Super Bowl champion, my man, L.A. Rams. And number 1, I got Cooper Kupp. Straight up.
Yeah,
come on.
That's good.
The Kupp runneth over. Like, Cooper Kupp was good to, if you really knew football, great. Now, you said household name. Beyond that, Triple Crown winner right there, Cooper Kupp hanging out with Mickey Mouse. That's the number 1 winner. That'll do it for our 2021 NFL season. Winners and losers. Boy, that ain't do nothing. Congrats to all you just got tackled for a loss. Congrats to all you winners out there. And better luck next season for all the losers. Boy, that was a 6-yard tackle for loss. He's coming up. Super Bowl MVP Cooper Kupp had a historic. Do it again. Had a historic year. Well, was it the best season in sports history? Eric Weddle will light your ass up if you do that again. We'll answer that next. Don't speak for yourself. Cooper Kupp had a monster season. I mean, monster. Captured the Triple Crown, becoming the first player since 2005 lead the NFL in receptions, receiving yards, and receiving touchdowns. He also won AP Offensive Player of the Year, capped it off by catching the game-winning touchdown and being named Super Bowl MVP. Damn, that storybook. But Acho, did Cooper Kupp have the best season in sports history?
Yeah, I came out the gate still and said yes. After thinking, I was like, okay, Steph Curry, when he set the 3-point record, did he win the NBA MVP? Did he win the Finals MVP? And I was like, no, at the same time in which he did all of those things, all of the stars did not necessarily align. But then it's like, okay, it can get a little outlandish. LeBron James won Finals MVP the same year LeBron James won an NBA MVP. So I concluded this. At a minimum, Cooper Kupp had the best sports season in NFL history.
Really?
At a minimum. Why? Because he was better at his position than anybody else in the NFL has been at their position in regards to every aspect of positioning. Cooper Kupp led all receivers in receiving touchdowns.
Okay.
He led all receivers in receiving yards. He led all receivers in catches. Then beyond that, he goes to the Super Bowl. He wins Super Bowl MVP. Then beyond that, he has the most receiving yards in a season when you include the playoffs, which is the most important thing. It's not just regular season, but it's the longevity of the season. Cooper Kupp wins Offensive Player of the Year and Super Bowl MVP. Cooper Kupp does all of those things in one season. So I can't necessarily go super big picture and say Cooper Kupp had the best season in the history of sports, all sports. But I can look at football and say, man, Cooper Kupp had the best football season.
Football season. He didn't even have the best football season. He may have had the best. Oh, he didn't even have the best NFL football season in history. Acho, you told on yourself.
What happened,
You
Sal?
said yes out the gate. Then I started thinking. Think first, then come out the gate. You told on yourself. You know damn well this is just storybook. It's just L.A. We just adding our extra sauce to a Hollywood story with a Hollywood ending. But I remind people that Cooper Kupp this year in NFL history still was second in receiving yards. Remember Calvin Johnson had more receiving yards with the same quarterback, Matthew Stafford? And guess what? Cooper Kupp had one more game. Uh-oh. More games and fewer yards? How is that the best in sports history? Oh, y'all talking about, he had 22 touchdowns this year. You know Randy Moss had 24 in 2007. You know that Jerry Rice also had 22 in 1987. With only 12 regular season games, not 17. Woo, y'all better stop. That was a shortened season. Now, you say, let's go football. The best season, I think, ever, and there's two of them. I'm going to say the best. Michael Jordan, remember when he won Defensive Player of the Year, as well as he was the MVP that year, and he won the scoring title. You won the scoring title, and you won Defensive Player of the Year, and you won MVP. That one. Okay, here's my best. Here's my best one.
That one your best one?
Nah, because this one I felt. Barry Sanders. Y'all remember him at Oklahoma State, 1988. Let me give it to you.
Okay.
11 games. 11, I know, but 11 games, he had 37 touchdowns. He set 34 NCAA records in that year. Dawg, in terms of, I know I'm adding a little sauce because I love Barry Sanders. Okay, fine, Michael Jordan.
You got to go Derrick Henry then in high school, big dog, when he rushed for 700 yards in a game. Man.
Okay, so Michael Jordan beats...
Michael Jordan. Give me Michael Jordan's one more time before you go.
Michael Jordan, he won the MVP.
Yep.
He won the scoring title.
Yep.
And Defensive Player of the Year.